film buffs, it's Straight Shooter back here this week with another couple reviews and a surprise video later on. I'll explain more about that in that video. Today, I'm here again at Team Sound Studios, as I always am, and thank you to them for the facility, for the help with the production, setting up the camera, getting the lights and the backgrounds, and everything else. So thankfully, even with the COVID on and the theaters haven't opened yet, there are some drive-in theaters you can go to. So I've seen a couple drive-in movies since the last time. The first one that I saw, the one that I'm reviewing in this video, is called My Spy. It stars Dave Bautista, and he's a CIA agent, but he's having problems. He is good at the demolition, at the action, and killing enemies and stuff like that, but he's not so good with the stealth, not giving up your identity, disguising, stuff like that. So he has this partner who's played by Kristen Schaal. They're both kind of like on thin ice. The boss, played by Ken Jeong, is saying, we have this last assignment for you, and it's basically to monitor this family who the father is in a terrorist organization, and they're afraid that he might contact them or something like that. There's the mother, and there's this little girl who's like 9 years old and quick-witted. She's very sharp, and she figures out pretty quickly that Dave Bautista is trying to monitor them and that he's a spy and all that stuff. And so that she doesn't give up her identity, he promises to teach her some of the ways in the CIA, and she also helps him to be more covert, as they say. So that's pretty much the premise of the movie. He, of course, does well at the end, and of course the father does contact the family, tries to come into their lives and tries to do all this evil, and they stop him. And there is this part at the end where he's about to fall off a cliff, and his daughter's looking over on the edge, and she just lets him fall because she realizes how bad he is, because he didn't care about her life or her mother's life. And Dave Bautista, because he took down the head of the terrorist organization, he is back in CIA, so is Kristen Schaal's character. So yeah, happy ending, pretty typical. So the movie, people are saying that it's kind of reminiscent of Kindergarten Cop, but it's probably more closely related to the movie The Game Plan, which stars The Rock, another wrestler, and has a long-lost daughter who, challenges him and doesn't take any of his crap, and he has to adjust himself, and he ends up being better for it, just like this movie. It's kind of a trope now to have big action stars, athletes, and, well-known people that are known to be big, mean, serious, kind of, and put them in a situation where they're involved with a kid or a bunch of kids for a comedy. And I can see why they do it, because it brings fans of different genres to see the movie. Like, I'm sure people that are into wrestling and people that are into the Marvel movies, because Dave Bautista plays Drax, and people that like family movies will go see this movie. The only reason I saw this movie was because there's not much playing at the drive-in, and there, with no real new movies being released, your choices are kind of limited. Having said that, it was okay. It was better than The Spy Who Dumped Me. The Spy Who Dumped Me I just thought was dumb. And this movie definitely did have some whatever moments, but the movie knew what its audience was. It was violent where it needed to be, and it was kid-friendly where it needed to be. And it was kind of a hybrid of like spy movies and action movies and family drama movies. So I enjoyed it somewhat, it wouldn't have been my first choice to see, but having said that, it wasn't too bad. I guess I would give the movie like a C. It's not something I would revisit, or definitely not something I would invest in as far as the Blu-ray or DVD. But it wasn't too bad of a time at the theater. I just think it's kind of like being overdone. This whole thing where, people like Dave Bautista, are taken down some notches because of a kid and stuff like that. It's like, okay, we get it. Let's do this to make money, because people that are fans of this genre and that genre will go see it and will cash in and stuff like that. If you're going to do that, I would try to make a movie that's like, wow, that says we didn't just do this movie because we knew we could and we knew we would cash in. We did this movie because it has a really good script and a really good story to tell. These types of movies, it's very few and far between, and this movie's no exception. But anyway, that's how I see it. So stay tuned for one more movie review. See you in a bit.
Next time while at home, I called you on the phone. I was hoping for it.